Now we have postmodern photography, which believes that only the camera can capture the immediacy of life, but then uses the camera to frequently make us question our own sense of reality. So, let's look at a couple of pieces. First, we're looking at Magnification by Robert Kauka. And here we see a hand holding a moth, not even a butterfly, a common moth. And we're seeing it through a magnifying glass. So what's it about? It actually has a couple of different messages. First of all, it's asking us to look at the things around us, to pay attention to the life surrounding us. This is a moth. This is something that would be very common in the summer. Leave a light bulb on outside. You'll see lots of them. There's nothing special. It's not a butterfly. It's not a praying mantis. It's not anything else. It's a moth. No one does documentaries about moths. No one goes, ooh, a moth. Not like a butterfly or something else. So he's asking us to look at and pay attention to the small things in life. Pay attention to and be present with these small things that surround us day to day. But secondly, he's also giving us some idea about juxtaposition, about opposites. Because what we see is that moth, that purely organic form. Of course, it grows and develops on its own. It's not manufactured. It's not made. And we see it through a magnifying glass, which is quite its opposite. The moth, for example, is not perfectly symmetrical. You can pick out areas on the wings where it is different, where there is some asymmetry, which of course we always see in nature. But the magnifying glass, the glass itself is round, it's hard, it's polished, it's perfect. The steel ring is perfected. Very much the opposite of the moth itself. So he's taking recognizable but dissimilar images and juxtaposing them to display texture, line, value, and composition to draw us in and pique our interest. He suggests familiar objects merit closer examination to reveal new contexts and new aspects of their being. So he's basically trying to get us to, much like postmodernism does, get us to question what we see around us. We also have to look at Triple I by James Casabere. And what he does is he builds tabletop models. So he builds a model of a town, and then he will photograph it. And the photo, rather than the model, is the art. So the model is not relevant. But by looking at the model through the lens of a camera, it changes the model. Suddenly, instead of going, wow, that's spectacular, it's tiny, look at all those little details, I bet there's a little person in there. Instead, we see a photo and we look at it as if it's a city. It changes the way we look at it. It forces us to question what we're actually looking at, because without knowing that, when we look at it in a little more detail, you could easily see this as an actual image of the city, as some kind of little bit of trick photography or something like that. So we're questioning our reality again. So what he does is he studies the subject before building the model and pares down the architecture to the simple, basic, essential forms. He's not trying to create the world's most detailed image of a specific place. He's trying to simplify it to give us this very institutional space. And by boiling it down, in this case, this is Tripoli, but in this case, it could be almost anywhere, really. Unless you're really looking at the details, this could just as easily be New York. So he's kind of looking at those commonalities. Look, guys, there are cities out there, and the cities tend to look pretty common. And he's trying to draw our attention to that. Now, the photo also distorts the model. Obviously, lenses are a little bit convex, or convex to some level. So by their very nature, they're going to distort the image. the same as they would distort the image of a real city. This is what makes us question whether it's a model or it's real. And he presents us with a sense of social history and institutional space, the space that we all live in, this common existence, this common tie that we all have. So really, he's taking this as far as he can, trying to get us to question our role in society. We may be sitting there questioning, what building would we be living in? And he's doing it all in this sort of, through this, pardon the pun, postmodern lens.